As satisfying as it is to piece together a shiny new gaming PC or unwrap a lovely new console on Christmas morning, there's no denying how convenient it would be to be able to just load up and play your games from anywhere, even if you're using a system that isn't all that powerful. And although simple browser games have been around for a long time, remember addictinggames.com and Miniclip? Running anything more immersive or powerful has typically required some kind of dedicated hardware. But now, there are a number of services that are trying to alleviate the load that your computer has to handle by streaming games directly to you. That is to say that most of the computationally intensive work is done on a server somewhere far away, and then the completed rendered frames are delivered to your PC via the internet. And with rising internet speeds and games taking up more and more space on your computer's local storage, game streaming is becoming an increasingly crowded marketplace, especially with Google announcing their new streaming service called Stadia, which will work with nothing more than a browser or a smart TV, an internet connection, and then optionally Google's own game controller. But as much buzz as there's been around it, there are a few things that we'd like to see from Stadia to help propel game streaming more to the forefront. First off is, of course, the elephant in the room, latency. For obvious reasons, when you're playing a game, you expect something to happen on the screen as soon as you press a button or click your mouse. And while this is basically never an issue if you're gaming on a local machine, it's a real concern if you're expecting a server hundreds of miles away to respond instantly to you moving a targeting reticle. Now, Google is hoping to mitigate the latency issues that have plagued other streaming services. Part of the solution will probably come from the fact that they just have more cloud infrastructure. I mean, think about it. It's freaking Google. So the fact that they have more servers in more places should help to reduce both ping time and inherently the latency of your connection. So like a Stadia gamer might be connecting to a server 50 miles away instead of one that is 500 miles away. Hopefully, this will keep games from lagging out. But another major hurdle is going to be image quality. And I don't mean to say that Google is, going to be using weak graphics cards to render Stadia games. In fact, they're apparently using arrays of custom AMD Radeon chips that sound pretty freaking powerful. The issue, though, is that like the vast majority of digital video online, the rendered frames will almost certainly need to be compressed before they're sent across the internet, so that a standard connection actually has any hope of handling them. So that means there could be some degradation in quality by the time they hit your screen. Now, Google is expecting a 25 megabit home internet connection to be good enough to stream games at 4K resolution, 60 frames per second. And that's a speed that's certainly within reach of many users. But in order to keep the game from lagging, well, 25 megabit 4K 60, the image quality may not be as good as some gamers would like. So we're going to have to see if Google has a solution to this issue in the works. That said, all the tech in the world isn't going to matter unless it's actually easy to access the games that people want to play. And it's still a bit of an open question as to how libraries are going to be handled on Stadia. Now, PlayStation Now, Sony's streaming offering, only offers a rotating list of games, so it's never clear if you can rely on a certain title being on the platform for too long. GeForce Now from NVIDIA only supports certain games from Steam, Uplay, and Battle.net, and has been in an invite-only beta for a very long time, and Blade, while fairly slick, has a fairly expensive monthly fee. With the amount of storage and connectivity in Google's arsenal, however, the hope is that Stadia will not only have a large library of games to pick from at a reasonable price, be it a la carte or by subscription, but that it will also give people the ability to bring their own games in and run them off of Google's servers, or at least grant access to those same titles so that gamers won't have to pay again for a game that they already own. One thing standing in the way, though, is the fact that unlike PlayStation Now or GeForce Now, where games will run just natively as is on the servers, Stadia is an entirely new platform built on Linux, meaning that many titles will have to be ported over in order to work. And game ports take both time and resources to do properly. You can actually learn more about that up here. What that means in a nutshell, though, is that it's possible that this issue will affect what kinds of games will be available, as well as which previously owned games users will be able to bring to the service. And of course, we'd also like to see streaming platforms other than YouTube get supported. It's an open question at this time as to whether Stadia will allow gamers to stream to Twitch, since it's in direct competition with YouTube, which is, of course, owned by Google. But to be fair, there are some cool YouTube-centric features in the works, including the ability for a Stadia user to start playing the game being streamed with the click of a button, or even join the streamer's game. Even with all these questions yet to be answered, though, it's certainly exciting for an absolute titan of cloud computing like Google to finally throw its hat into the streaming ring. My only hope is that it's not so good that people will just stop building gaming rigs altogether. Otherwise, we're gonna run out of video ideas pretty quickly. Speaking of streaming things over the internet, check out Private Internet Access VPN. PIA hides your true IP address and allows you to bypass geo-restrictions and censorship by making you appear as though you're connecting from somewhere else. And what's cool is you can use it on up to 5 devices at once with a single account. PIA helps prevent attacks by blocking unwanted connections and keeps your data out of the hands of advertisers and other activity tracking snoops, and it's got all kinds of great features, including preventing DNS leaks and even Mace, PIA's built-in malware blocker. It supports multiple VPN protocols, so you can dial in exactly the level of protection you need, and they've got apps for Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and even a Chrome extension. Finally, PIA does not log your activity, and they have over 3,000 servers in 33 countries. So what are you waiting for? Check them out today at the link in the video description. So thanks for watching, guys. Like, dislike, check out our other videos, leave a comment with video suggestions, and don't forget to subscribe and follow so that you can spend more of your time admiring this fantastic new sweater I'm actually trying out. We don't have it available on our store yet, but I think it's pretty cool. Oops. Shilling the LTT merch on TechQuickie. Oh no! John's gonna beat me.